Hi everybody, Coulter Brown here with Northern Ag TV, and we're coming to you from Casper at the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation's 105th annual meeting. Really great turnout of producers here, and I'm joined by Executive Vice President Karen Clark. And Karen, boy, there just seems to be a lot of optimism from producers here. Might be helped by the election this week, might be helped by the calf market, but it seems like Wyoming producers are feeling good after what was a difficult year for a lot of producers.
You know, the excitement in the room today as we gather at the table for the 105th annual meeting of the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation, you can just feel it. And there are a lot of opportunities for agriculture, a lot of hard issues that we need to continue working on, continue being diligent about our advocacy for agriculture. But yes, the optimism in the room full of farmers and ranchers today at this organization is exciting.
Well, and of course, you have some big shoes to fill. Ken Hamilton officially retired here after 41 years with Farm Bureau, but you've been here for more than 30, so I can't think of anyone better to lead the Federation.
Well, thank you, Coulter, for that. And I am incredibly honored to have been selected as the next executive vice president, and certainly learned so much from Ken throughout my 30-year tenure working for him. And so very much excited and honored and humbled to be in this position. And what I like to remind people is I'm not replacing Ken. I am the next executive vice president of the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation. Ken has built a legacy for this organization. The strength and the foundation of our organization is just absolutely incredible. And Ken is a great leader and advocate for agriculture, and I'm just honored to be the next executive and add the effect of my leadership and continue to build on the legacy of the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation.
Well, we're so excited to see where it goes, and as we look forward, there's so much happening. Of course, developing grassroots policy here this week, but then it's getting ready for the American Farm Bureau, the legislature, the YF&R conference. So Wyoming Farm Bureau members are going to be pretty busy here coming in the future.
They're going to be busy, and we need our farmers and ranchers advocating for agriculture. And as we talked about this morning, whether that be working on policy development, as we are doing that here today, advocating for agriculture in the classrooms, teaching people where their food comes from, or developing young leaders to get involved in agriculture policy and conversation. We need engagement from our members in all levels, and so very excited to see what the future holds as we discuss all of those things here at our convention.
Certainly, and I think you've got a great theme for this convention with Gather at the Table, because you have to be at the table. And I certainly want to pull President Todd Fornstrom into this because, Todd, you spoke to the delegation here this morning, and you have to be at the table because there is a lot of work for agriculture to do. We may be optimistic about election results, but, boy, we're still waiting on a farm bill, and you ran through a list of issues that we've been fighting for a while, and maybe we can finally move the needle on.
Yeah, you know, the old adage, if you're not at the table, you're on the table. We will be if we don't speak up and advocate for ourselves.
That's certainly true. And as you look forward to some of the big issues that are going to come up during the delegate session and over the next year, what's top of mind for Wyoming producers from a policy perspective?
You know, our policies, I talked to Brad earlier about this. You know, I try not to get ahead of the game. Our delegation will create that policy from the grassroots level. And until that policy is developed, I hesitate on commenting.
Well, the membership certainly will decide. And I'd also ask you to comment just this year that producers have been through. One of the worst fire years in Wyoming in memory. I was on Andy Edwards' place here this summer looking at the devastation from the Remington fire. I mean, how does Wyoming Farm Bureau try to help its members who have really struggled this year?
Well, we do our best to point them into the directions that have the help available. And we've had discussions within our board on what we can do to help with whether it's our foundation or whether it's the Federation. But it's a communication effort for the most part. I'd like to let people know where the help is.
Certainly. Well, last question here for you, Todd. What are you excited about? As you look forward in the future of Wyoming Farm Bureau and Wyoming agriculture, what excites you?
You know, the excitement that I really see, and when you look out into this audience, is there's more and more young people. And that is where our future really is. Without the young people, this is going to get to be a pretty quiet, small crowd.
That's true. We certainly need that engagement, and glad that we have the young farmers and ranchers here. Well, that's going to do it here for our Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation coverage, but stick with us. We'll be back with the markets after this.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Well, thanks for joining us back here for our markets, everybody. You know, the cattle futures saw a lot of optimism after the election helped the stock market surge higher. That pushed the cattle upwards, but on Friday, plummeting box beef prices allowed the cattle to see some triple-digit losses. Of course, cash trade coming in lower, down about $3 on the average, with live sales from $185 to $188, dress trade $290 to $298. Nonetheless, the fundamentals of tightening cattle supplies bode well for the market as the herd rebuild has really yet to take hold. As we look to some of our local auction markets, at Billings Live, the calves sold steady to higher with the first full load lots coming to town. 450 to 500 pound steers from 340 to 355. Your light 5 weights 309 to 320. Upper 5 weight steers from 292 to 302. At the Newell Sheepyards, lambs sold $5 to $10 better, 60 pounders $220 to $235, 70 pound lambs $2 to $210, 80 pounders $190 to $198, the ewes up $3 to $5, and young replacement ewes selling $185 to $200. Well, another week of mostly lower wheat values, pressured by the stronger dollar and some moisture arriving to winter wheat country. USDA's World Supply and Demand report came in bullish for corn and beans, but neutral to bearish for wheat. Corn production moved lower and stocks pulled down a little bit. For the soybeans, we saw a big drop in production that also reduced stocks, but for wheat, just a slight increase in U.S. stocks that was not predicted to happen, and world supplies were forecast to fall lower, but they didn't move much. Well, that's going to do it for today's markets. Thanks so much for joining us. Coming to you from the Wyoming Farm Bureau Convention in Casper, I'm Coulter Brown, Northern Ag Network.